Tomorrow night, Immunonco speaker program, 7 p.m. Tonight I'm not relaxing. Speaker confirmed. Dr. Patel texted 2 hours ago she's on. Flight landed. Hotel confirmed via approved vendor, documented in agentforce. Her slides are the approved deck. I confirmed she hasn't modified them. Venue confirmed. Called the restaurant this afternoon. Private dining room. Set for 14. Menu selected, modest, appropriate. Nothing extravagant. AV working. Screen positioned so the speaker has sight lines to all attendees. Materials packed. Approved slide deck on the laptop, backed up on USB. PRC stamped handout for each attendee. Sign-in sheet, one for HCPs with date, event title, product discussed. Fair balance statement printed, the speaker will read it verbatim at the start. Pens, name tags if the group is large enough to need them. Attendee list finalized. 12 HCPs confirmed, 2 maybes. Each name cross-checked, HCP status, no conflicts, invitation was compliant. I know who's a prescriber, who's a practice manager with clinical oversight, and who I should sit next to if a clinical question comes up. Agentforce event record open. All pre-event fields completed. Speaker, venue, attendee list, budget, all logged. One final check. Is there anything in that room tomorrow that hasn't been through the PRC? No, there isn't. That's the only question that matters tonight. Approved travel booking. Speaker travel must be booked through company-approved travel vendors and documented as a transfer of value to the physician. Travel expenses, airfare, hotel, ground transport, are reportable under Sunshine Act in addition to the honorarium. Slide deck integrity check. The rep is responsible for confirming the speaker will use the unmodified company-approved slide deck. Even well-intentioned additions, a physician's own published data, updated trial results, additional patient cases, are not permitted in a promotional speaker program without PRC approval. Sign-in sheet compliance function. The sign-in sheet is not administrative paperwork. It is the primary compliance record documenting which HCPs attended and thereby received a transfer of value meal. Each signature is linked to an open payments disclosure. Sign-in sheets are retained per company and legal requirements. Fair balance statement. Most promotional speaker programs require the speaker to read or present a standardized fair balance statement at the outset, covering the drug's most significant risks, contraindications, and the full indication statement. This is a PRC-approved script, not an improvised disclosure. Pre-event agentforce documentation. Recording all event details in the CRM before the event creates the audit trail that compliance, legal, and government affairs rely on. Missing pre-event documentation is a red flag in any compliance review of a speaker program. 6:30 p.m., I arrive 30 minutes early. Room check, AV check, seating arranged, materials at each place setting, sign-in sheet at the door. 6:55 p.m. Physicians start arriving. I sign them in, every name, every signature, every time. I confirm they're the HCPs on the approved list. Unexpected guests, HCPs who weren't pre-approved, I call compliance before they sit down. 7:00 p.m. I introduce the event. Good evening, I'm Sarah with Arventa Therapeutics. Tonight's program is sponsored by Arventa. Dr. Patel is a paid speaker for our company. The content tonight covers Immunonco for first-line NSCLC in patients with PD-L1 expression greater or equal to 50%. Disclosure, upfront, every time. The physicians know who's paying for the room. 7:05 p.m. Dr. Patel presents, 45 minutes. Approved slides. Fair balance statement read verbatim. I take notes, not on clinical content, but on what questions are asked, what's resonating, what objections come up. Agentforce gets all of that after. During Q&A, my job is to listen and observe, not to answer clinical questions. If a physician asks something off-label, I'll address that separately. That's the next episode. 8:00 p.m. Close. Thank you all for joining. Any further medical questions, you're welcome to reach out to Dr. Patel directly or contact our medical information line. Sign-in sheets collected. Every sheet, no exceptions. I walk to my car and open Agentforce. The documentation starts now, while everything is fresh. Sponsor disclosure requirement. At the start of every promotional speaker program, the sponsoring company and the nature of the speaker's relationship, paid speaker, must be disclosed to all attendees. This is a PHRMA code requirement and standard industry practice. Unexpected attendee protocol. If an HCP attends who is not on the pre-approved list, the rep must assess whether their attendance is appropriate. Are they an HCP with clinical interest in the topic? And may need to contact compliance before allowing the person to remain. Walk-ins cannot simply be added without assessment. Rep's role during the presentation. The organizing rep does not answer clinical questions during a promotional speaker program. That is the certified speaker's role. The rep observes, takes notes on attendee engagement and questions raised, and manages logistics. Medical information referral. At the close of a speaker program, attendees should be informed of the medical information line as a resource for detailed clinical questions, particularly any that arose during Q and that went beyond the approved content. Real-time documentation. Completing the post-event record in agentforce immediately after the event, while details are fresh, ensures accurate capture of actual attendees vs. invited list, questions raised, issues encountered, and any deviations from the approved format. 7:45. Q&A. The program is going well. Then Dr. Nguyen raises his hand. Has anyone looked at immunonco in second-line NSCLC for patients who progressed after first-line chemotherapy? I have a patient right now I'm thinking about. The room goes quiet. That question is off-label. Immunonco is approved first-line. PDL1 greater or equal to 50%. Second-line NSCLC is not in the label. Here's what cannot happen. Dr. Patel cannot answer that question in this room. I cannot answer it. We cannot nod. We cannot say interesting question and let someone else answer. We cannot suggest the data looks promising. Here's what must happen. Dr. Patel acknowledges the question. That's an important clinical question, and one I can address in the context of tonight's program, which covers the approved indication. Our medical information team can help with that. I step in. Dr. Nguyen, I'll follow up with you directly and connect you with our medical team for that conversation. I log at an agentforce immediately after the event. An off-label question was raised. By whom? The exact question. How it was handled. Scenario 2. A physician mentions a patient adverse event. One of my patients on immunonco developed grade 3 colitis. The 24-hour clock just started. I document it. I report it to pharmacovigilance that night. The event continues, but that AE is not optional reporting. Field events surface real clinical situations. The rep's job is to know exactly what to do when they are not in the script. Off-label question management at events. When an HCP asks an off-label question during a promotional speaker program, neither the rep nor the certified speaker may answer it. The question must be acknowledged, redirected to medical information, and documented. Any response, even a nod or interesting point, could constitute illegal off-label promotion. Speaker's role when off-label questions arise. The certified physician speaker is bound by the same off-label restrictions as the company in the promotional context. Even though they may have personal clinical experience with off-label use, they cannot discuss it within the speaker program format. Medical information referral for off-label queries. Off-label questions from HCPs at events should be routed to the company's medical information department, which can provide a compliant response based on available published evidence and scientific data. The MSL may also follow up if the inquiry meets the standard for scientific exchange. Adverse event reporting obligation. If an HCP reports or describes a patient adverse event during any interaction, including a field event, the rep has a mandatory obligation to document and report it to pharmacovigilance within 24 hours, regardless of whether the event is definitively causally related to the drug. This obligation applies in all settings. Event deviation documentation. Any deviation from the approved event format, off-label questions, unexpected attendees, materials issues, AE reports, must be documented in the event record in agentforce. Compliance relies on accurate deviation records to assess program quality and address systemic issues.